Well, good morning, everyone. Thanks so much for joining us on this Monday morning. I'm Channing Curtis.
And I'm Tim Pham. Well, what a weekend for the Zags. They needed that win, and it was so special because game day was in town.
Absolutely. And it was so much fun. If you got a chance to go out and enjoy the game day madness, because that's what it was.
And the crowd surfing. Thomas,
Yes.
You ready to crowd surf?
I would love to crowd surf. I just don't think I'm going to have any takers.
No one's going to go on and lift you up.
Yeah, after the snow yesterday, we're approaching March, which is meteorological spring, but we know that it just takes forever for us to really get into spring, and that's going to be the case in the forecast, as you'll see. Still cold this morning, 20 degrees in Spokane, one of the colder spots for the inland northwest right now, 26 meanwhile in Coeur d'Alene, but at least we have some sunshine hitting the eastern side of the clock tower at the moment, and the winds are fairly calm. 6-mile-per-hour wind still puts the wind chill at about 12 degrees. Because of how cold it is, bit of black ice on the ground for this morning. Another storm system already en route. We're tracking more snow for tonight and tomorrow morning.
Well, we do have one school district that is closed today. The Kellogg School District is closed this morning due to hazardous road conditions. Of course, we'll keep you updated on if any other districts decide to close or delay their start this morning.
Happening today, Spokane City Council will be voting on an affordable housing ordinance that could change the landscape of downtown Spokane. Our Nicole Hernandez is following this story for us now. She's at City Hall. So Nicole, what would this ordinance actually do for the city?
So Tim, this new ordinance, if passed, of course, would incentivize developers to build housing in empty lots across the downtown area. So City Council actually heard this bill or new ordinance for the first time 2 weeks ago, and tonight is going to be the final reading and vote. So if passed, it would put a sales and use tax deferral program in place for developers who build on the parking lots that are all over downtown. The city says a 2019 parking study shows 30% of downtown is parking, and the study found even at the busiest times of day, people were only using 56% of the available parking. Under the ordinance, at least half of the new development would have to be affordable housing. The city would create a report every year outlining how many projects they approved, the amount of affordable housing built, and the value of each project to the city. Local leaders, including Spokane City Councilman Zach Zapone, believe this could be one solution that could help reduce homelessness.
When I talk to them, they say, I'm here because I couldn't afford rent. I couldn't afford rent this month, and I'm hoping I'm here as little time as possible. I don't want to be here. I don't like this. And we have programs that help with first and last month's rent and get people back on their feet and into housing. But it is frankly just that affordable housing and that component that causes people to become homeless in the first place.
So again, City Council is planning on voting on this ordinance tonight. That meeting starts at 6 o'clock. In Spokane, Nicole Hernandez, KREM 2 News.
Also happening today, the Spokane County Commissioners will get an update on the I-90 homeless encampment. The Empire Health Foundation is one of the organizations contracted to provide services to the camp. Zeke Smith from the foundation will give an update at 10 a.m.
In our In Session series, we help you make sense of the hot topics in the legislature. And we're halfway through the legislative session for both Washington and Idaho. Yeah, last Friday proved to be a make or break day in Olympia. It was another deadline to advance measures Washington lawmakers hope to pass. Some of the measures which might not come up again this session include a bill that would require turn signals when exiting a roundabout, and a bill that would have put new restrictions on when someone can turn right on a red light. Lawmakers also did not advance a bill that would strengthen penalties for catalytic converter thefts. The proposal would make the crime a felony, punishable by more than a year in prison. It would also have required scrap metal businesses to require proof of ownership before anyone gets paid for a catalytic converter. The bill's sponsor says Oregon has a similar law, and that is impacting the state of Washington as a result. Well, Washington lawmakers are also looking at changing how they tax people for driving cars. The idea would replace the state's gas tax with a pay-by-mile system. The bill did not advance, but could be revived. Opposition to the bill wants the state to use sales tax from cars to pay for the roads. If the pay-by-mile bill does end up passing, it would start out as a voluntary program in 2025 before becoming mandatory in 2030. Now, a bill that is moving forward in Olympia requires electronics companies to share how to fix their products with consumers. The Fair Repair Act advanced through the House Committee on Appropriations. If passed, companies would need to share instructions on how to fix products and make the required tools available.
If we can fix our own stuff, we are not captive to the manufacturers that sent us the thing.
The bill now goes to the House Rules Committee to await scheduling for a floor vote.
In Idaho, so far this session, 11 bills have made their way to Governor Brad Little's desk, 8 of those becoming law. Governor Little gave his thoughts about the legislative session at an event last week. He says a lot of his priorities, like increasing teacher pay and property tax relief, have not been addressed so far. The governor also said some bills address problems that don't exist in the state.
Depends how you classify it as a distraction. I mean, people feel passionate about these. We have an obligation to get the big things done, but it's early in the process.
A public policy survey from Boise State University found education remains a top priority among voters.
And a bill that would close Idaho public schools on Election Day is now headed to the House floor. The idea is to keep students away from schools on election days in order to ensure student safety and provide adequate polling locations. Schools are the most common polling location used in Idaho. If signed into law, schools would still be allowed to hold virtual learning on election days.
And to another look of weather, where we got some fairly sunny conditions this morning, and the day is going to be dry before our next storm system is going to arrive later on this evening. Unfortunately, a bit of that snowfall from yesterday is still in the form of ice on the ground early this morning. But as we look ahead to that 12-hour forecast, it is these late hours in the evening where we see maybe a chance of wintry mix early evening, but quickly changing to snow as temperatures will fall back to the freezing mark, even by about 7, 8, 9 o'clock during the evening hours. And that's when that next batch of snow is likely going to be arriving, falling mostly during the overnight hours.